skill and interests, and then also how to use the level feature that we have involving skills and interests as well. But before we do that, I'm the only person logged in today, so if you have questions, please wait till the end, and I will get those questions answered for you. Just expand the question section on your GoToWebinar toolbar, type them in, and then I'll get to them at the end of the webinar for you. But I do want to show you where I got the information for today's topic. So, setting up skills and interests comes from Membership Workbook 201. So if you go out to churchwindows.com and under Beginning, you click on Training Workbooks here. It is going to take you out to where you can view or purchase our workbooks. So if we scroll down under Membership, M201, and then today we're going over just pages 11 through 13. So there's not a whole bunch of information for you today, just a couple pages worth. But this is where I got my guide for the webinar. So we do record these as well. So if you'd rather just view the recorded webinar, you can of course do that at our website, but you can also look into purchasing the workbook that covers this information in print, and also some other things here that you can see in the summary that's been written out. Alright, let me close this and let me pull up Church Windows membership here. Okay, so setting up skills and interests. So I want to just clarify there is a difference between skills and interests and groups and classes. Okay, so keep in mind this is not groups and classes. Groups and classes is specifically for setting up those groups or organizations that you have within your church. So a group and class example might be choir, or your different choir levels that you have. You would set those up into different groups or classes. But then as far as skills and interests are concerned, you might have a music skill or interest, or maybe a vocal music and instrumental music skill and interest. Okay, so group and class is actually an organization that you have at the church that you assign people to, and then a skill or interest is something people have a talent for or are interested in, and you assign them to that specific skill or interest. Now, you can also rename skills and interests. If that's too much of a generic or general term, you can go in and call it like spiritual gifts if you want. Some people like to call it time and talents, but you do have the option to relabel it. Let me show you where. So if you go into Membership Members, up at the top under Options, right here to customize fields, and then right in this box here, you could type in spiritual gifts, or you could type in time and talents. If your church has a specific name that you call those skills or interests that people have, you would type that right in this field. And then anywhere it says skills and interests, it'll relabel it to whatever you type in that field. You don't have to do it, but it is an option. So let me close this. So to get to your skills and interests, or to see what they are, you would just go into someone's record. We'll go to Donna's, and then you're going to come up to the top and you're going to click this little light bulb. This light bulb button is your skill and interest button. Okay, so by clicking on that, that shows you where you can then assign people specific skills and interests, or how to set them up, which is what we're going to go over today. So let me go ahead and hit this Add Item to Record button, and it pops up all of the skills and interests that have been set up here within Church Windows. So these are going to be specific to you. What I recommend doing, or a hint that I would give you before you start plugging away at entering these in the program, is actually starting on like just a scratch paper and organizing and writing down the different skills and interests that you have or want to track within your church. So it's a good idea to go through, kind of jot down the things that you want to be able to track, and then go back through and organize them accordingly, just so it's a little easier to find. So if you see over here, we have numbers that kind of track the different type of maybe carpentry type of things or repair work people can do. We've gone through and assigned them a code that's just numbers. Your codes can be up to 5 numbers and or letters, so it's up to you how you want to have that set up specifically for your church. But then if you look down below, we can see that the code is usually in correspondence with the description. So like D is for data entry, and then M's is going to be for music-based skill and interest, and then you can get into more detail what type of music by creating those specific skills and interests. So this is pretty straightforward, but organize it on a piece of paper first. It's really handy to do that and list everything out, assign the codes that you think are most practical, are going to be most useful. And then once you get that figured out, then you can come back here and plug them in. Okay? So to add a skill or interest, I'm going to come down here to the bottom left and just hit this green plus sign, this add items button. And then it's going to pop up with my code and my description box. So I'm going to add a new code for computers, and I'm going to give it COM as its code. And then the description itself is going to be computers. So we already have a D for data entry. So you might want to make a COM for computers. You can make as many type of COM codes as you want and get specific. So you might have a computers hardware or computers programming. But you can get as specific or as general as you wish. But here's how you add a new code and description. Once you get it in here as you like, you hit add. You're going to see it's popped down here in the list, and then you can continue on, add another code and description, and hit add. You can add a bunch at a time, or if you just need to get one in there, just hit close. All right, then it's going to resort your list here. So here's our new one that we just made. Okay. Also, you can come in here and you can edit items. So things you've done in the past, if you want to tweak them a little bit, you can of course come in and use this edit items button. If you want to delete an item, say you get a code in here or skill and interest and you find you don't really use it or you don't like how it's been set up, you can highlight it, hit the delete button down here to get rid of it. Then below that you also have a print items button. So if you want to print out a nice neat list of everything that you've set up, hit print items, it'll send it right to your printer, and you can use that as kind of a guide of what you have and where people can fill it. Alright, so let's go ahead and just give Donna here this code. So I've highlighted it, I've hit add item to record, the code's popped in here under her skill and interests. I'm going to go ahead and hit close. And the next thing I want to talk about is this level column. You can use this or not, it's completely up to you, but it can be really handy when you're trying to kind of decipher of this code where people fall in under it, or why or how it's their skill and interest. So for example, computers, we can specify what Donna's level of expertise is, if you will, within computers. So right now we just have 2. We have an active participant and a no longer involved. I'm going to add a new level here, and I'm going to give it a P. Oh, see if I can spell professional. I probably should have practiced that, huh? I think that's how it's spelled. You can always come back and correct it with edit items. But we'll hit add items or hit add and then close. So then from here, you can go in and you can specify that Donna is a professional. So she works with computers as her job. Or this is what she does for a living. So you can see if you need help with your computers, you could come in here and search for someone who is a professional level with computers. Okay? Also, you have comments. Once again, this is a field you can use or not use. It's completely up to you. But comments is just a way for you to type in a little note. So on here, under Donna, we could say she owns her own computer repair shop or something to that effect. So you can see the information about her skill and interest, but you don't have to do that either. All right, now that covers the pages that I needed to go over for you for today's webinar. So let me see what questions we have. If you have any questions, feel free to type those in and I can get them answered for you. But if you've gotten the information that you're looking for, you can always leave the webinar. That's fine as well. Diane's asking, will the system stop you if you enter a code that has already been used? Yes, Diane, it definitely will. So if I were to go in and try to use this code again, this OTS code, when I'm adding a new item, it'll yell at me and let me know that I can't use that code because it's already been in use. Any other questions? If not, feel free to leave. Sure. So Melissa, bottom left here, hit print items. And actually I think this might actually go right to our printer. I don't believe that's going to show you a preview. Let me see what happens. I might be shooting it to the printer, but oh, here we go. So here's your print preview. Pretty basic. It's just listing the codes along the left hand side in the description, and then at the bottom it just tells you how many you have. Yeah, Melissa, you can definitely get that. Melissa's asking to see a list of people that fall into a specific skill. You can. That's not on topic for today's webinar, but we do have time, so I'll just show you real quick. So under reports and export, here where it says select a membership field, you could choose skill and interests right here up at the top and then check the ones that you want. So we'll do mechanical, electrical, and carpentry. And then hit the next button. And we'll do just the basic columnar report, which gives us name, address, and phone. And hit print, and that'll give us a nice neat preview. But the main thing is on step 1, choosing skill and interest, and then checking the ones that you want to see on the report, and then it will pull those corresponding people. Now, this is just basic. You could definitely come in and customize this report more, but we don't have time for that today, unfortunately. You're welcome. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. Like I said, it was just short, sweet, to the point today. Not in too much detail, but just showing you how to add or edit or delete those skills and interests that you might have. I hope you all learned something new today, and I hope you learned something that will help make your job a little bit easier. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.